G'day guys, it's Ardent Vision here. Thanks for tuning in. I wanted to bring you my opinion, my thoughts around something that I have been pretty passionate about for a while, and that is pre-ordering or early access games, and ultimately why this is bad for gamers. So don't get me wrong, I get pumped for a new release. I get pumped watching the trailers and watching the streamers talk about the next big game release that's around the corner. And I'm tempted to get the premium edition or the pre-order edition that unlocks some game skin, some weapon, something that I can get my hands on before the normal release. However, this is generally really bad for games, and it seems to be something that is compounding as we have more and more games and bigger blockbuster releases from AAA developers. Realistically, these are really large organizations, often stock listed companies that answer to shareholders, not gamers. Pre-ordering video games and pre-ordering these premium copies and early access versions does nothing to ensure the quality of these games at release. You see, they can build a large pre-release revenue stream by riding the back of these hype trains, and us lowly gamers hoping for this game to be amazing when it comes out, only to find out that it's completely subpar when released. Or even if it's not completely subpar, we're disappointed ultimately with it. Now, we know that there's no shortage of video game supply, meaning you can get hold of these games on day one of release nearly always, without exception. Even if you're looking for the physical release, any real big release, I'll say on PS5 or something like that, you're going to be able to get pretty much on day one. Of course, a digital edition you can download on day one, no worries. Now, there are a couple of exceptions to where I think pre-ordering or early access may be okay. If you want the collector's edition, like if you want the miniatures or the statuette that comes with the collector's edition of the game, then I understand you can only get that if you pre-order, and that's fine. There's something else there other than the game, something physical that you want to get your hands on. So I'm all for that. I also think it's not so bad to pre-order a physical game, say from your local retailer. So here in Australia, maybe like an EB Games or something, you could pre-order that, and it's not really contributing to the developers' pre-orders or their revenue stream, because it's actually the retailer buying these copies, and they're already going to be buying copies, and they're just going to put aside your disc so that you can feel comfortable that you're going to get it on day one. I mean, this happened with, say, Last of Us 2. Millions of people pre-order the physical disc. But then you can rock into that store on day one of release to your JB Hi-Fi or your EB Games, and they will have thousands of copies of the game. So there's really, even that, I argue that there's not much. I want to use an example, and it's an example that's been probably used to death, but I think it's relevant. Cyberpunk 2077. That game had over 8 million pre-sale copies. That translates into tens of millions of dollars for that developer. Now, that game on release was a complete disaster. The pre-releases did nothing for the quality of that game at all. In fact, it really just pumps up the sale price of the shares related to their developer CD Projekt Red. Now, pre-ordering that game was an absolute disaster for anyone who did. You were better off waiting like 6 months to even longer for patches to come out. Now, Another example I want to share with you, which is another sneaky marketing tactic by a big game developer. Now, new game developer on the scene, Amazon Studios, with their upcoming MMO, New World, they're selling pre-orders, well, they were selling pre-orders so that you could get access to the beta version of their software. Now, I played the free early access game of New World, and hey, I love an MMO like the Next Gamer. But I'm not pre-ordering a game to test it for Amazon Studios, because that's exactly what they were doing. You're pre-ordering a game so that they can get tested on their platform and test the release of the game. I mean, your progress doesn't even carry over. There's little to no reason why pre-ordering that game other than you want to play the beta, the pre-release, the version that is at a subpar quality. And they make millions of dollars doing that. You need to really think, or the gaming community needs to think long and hard about what they want to expect from their favorite software developers. They need to put pressure on these developers to release high quality products on day one. And the best way to hit those game developers and make them work hard for your dollar is to not pre-order the game and wait until the full release to make a decision about whether you're going to spend your hard-earned coin on that game. Now, if enough people do this for long enough, then it will seriously erode the value of these pre-orders games so that you can really make the most out of that initial release. There's some argument with early access around Steam with maybe some indie developers that need that leg up. But at the same time, some of these games sit in early access for a year or more and never come out of early access. And again, you're essentially paying for a game that's in development. There is a lot of games out there, guys, and a lot of really great ones that come out on release. Buy your game on release and resist the urge to pre-order. Anyway, that's Ardent's Vision's opinion on this topic, guys. If you've got a different opinion or you want to put your views forward, send a comment my way. I'm happy to keep the discussion going. Thank you for tuning in.